I say it no.
Say it.
Deep down in my heart, I'm ethnocentric, which means I think my race is the superior one.
Oh,
Wait, no, let me finish. Let me finish.
hey, look.
So white is better than all.
No, let me finish. Let me
Go
finish.
ahead.
Hey,
I think everybody thinks that. They're just not honest about
hey,
it.
I'm not racist though. I like all types of kinds.
Did I say I don't like people?
People only think
Wait,
that.
so you said you are what? You are
You
racist?
saying you're like
You're
I think
racist?
everybody's a racist at that level.
No, you said you are racist.
I did. I did. Yeah, I'm trying to be
Yes,
honest.
I'm racist.
No, I'm not saying it again. I've said it enough.
So you're
I
racist.
think I slightly feel you can stop speaking.
Yes, you
Hey.
said
Put your phone up.
I respected you.
I'm
I
putting the
actually
phone up.
respected you for a while, but like
I'm putting the
now,
phone up.
I don't even got no more respect for you.
Put it up.
Yeah, sir. I don't think I got respect for him no more, bro.
You know, you should have more respect because I'm honest.
A racist who understands the assignment. This one comes out of Pflugerville, Texas, just outside of Austin, 20 plus miles or so. Bowles Middle School, fourth grade classroom where this yet to be identified white supremacist is desperate for his students to understand just how racist he is. At one point, he even gets frustrated with them because they're 10 and they're not getting it.
So you are a racist.
Damn, how many times I gotta say it?
You been cussing at me?
No, I'm not talking to anybody.
'Cause
I'm
he's
just I'm
black.
frustrated with this conversation.
That she started. You're the one that said you were a racist.
You asked the question.
No, you were talking to him.
Get it, Mello.
He said, yes, I'm a racist. Yes.
Somebody asked the question, I responded.
Once the kids got their answer, they decided to play with the teacher, the racist teacher, and they told him, you know what, you're transparent, we can be transparent too, we're getting ready to expose your whole life.
Hey,
I'll be sure to put this on the internet.
hey, I hope you know I'm famous, so I'm gonna play on the internet.
I'll be sure to put this on the internet.
Yeah, you guys, do what you need to do.
So one of the first things the kids did was run and tell their parents, and the one who stood up, the one kid, and said, hey, listen, I'm famous. Well, he is attached to fame. His father is a very well-known producer. He goes by the name Southside, also Sizzle, responsible for a lot of hits for stars like Future, other rappers. So he's big time. And the son goes by the name Baby Sizzle. They both took to Instagram, the father first. Here's what he had to say.
He says he's raising his son to be strong, to voice his opinion no matter what, and that it hurts his heart, that he's truly at a loss for words, but he's going to stand up for his child and the other Black and Spanish kings and queens. Now, Baby Sizzle says he's always been raised to respect his elders. He says, my parents don't play about that at all. Yes, he thanks his mama, too, not just his daddy. Coke Bottle Nay is her handle.
So the parents did their job. These kids are acting exactly how they'd want them to act when they're not in the room. They did their job. And you know what? Okay, Baby Sizzle had one moment where he'd had enough. He said, you know what, can I get the pass?
Yeah.
That's how 10-year-olds talk. But to me, A+. If we're grading the kids here, A+.
No.
If you weren't, you would not have just said.
No, you guys.
You treat me the wrongest out of everybody, because every time you would let these groups, you let them go to Miss Childress
Yeah.
when they're passing. But when I need to go, no, you can't go. Like, bro, that's racist. And guess what? They're all not in my skin color, so that's kind of
So if I was racist, I wouldn't let you go to the restroom, would I?
But you don't want him in your class.
But what about the school district? Well, they emailed me. The school district sent me a statement. This video first surfaced on Friday, and they immediately put out a statement. They yanked the teacher out of the classroom, put him on administrative leave. What that means is the teacher gets paid as they investigate. We'll get to their investigation, but he's collecting a check in the meantime. That's what that statement meant. But never mind that. The initial statement by the school, it lacked all teeth. Frankly, it was not rooted in reality. And here's why. The superintendent, Douglas Killian, never uses the word racist, never uses the words white supremacist. Nowhere is that found in the statement. Instead, he uses substitutes like inappropriate, inaccurate, and unacceptable. Unacceptable is when I eat the last Krispy Kreme donut and you don't even know they've been delivered. It's probably a little inappropriate too, but that's not racism. Racism is not background noise. Racism is not wallpaper. And when people don't want to say it and call it what it is, he told you who he is. I don't know why, if the man's earned it, you can't just afford him the title.
He's starting to think up something to say.
You don't know me at all. You can put words in my mouth. Just
I'm
let
just
me
trying
finish.
to explain what you
I'm trying to explain to you something that I've learned in my life. That's all I'm trying to say.
Now, the school district did redeem themselves with this super fast investigation. Remember, Friday to Monday, and now we have a conclusion. The racist teacher is fired. So they did a incredibly fast investigation. This wasn't a Kanye, Adidas, let's have a 2-week cooling off period before we make a decision. They said, you're out of here. And that we can applaud, because what it means is, even if it's just down in Texas, this one district or one school, or even if it's just this one classroom, what it means is the cost of racist business, it just ticked up a little bit.
Critical race theory is a Marxist doctrine that rejects the vision of Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King was a great teacher, and Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream of having a colorless society.
He wanted his children to be judged by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin.
People are judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin.
He didn't want people judged on the color of their skin, but on the content of their character.
Content of their character, not by the color of their skin.
We must judge one another by the content of our character and not the color of our skin.
But I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare.
From former President Donald Trump to first-year governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy will continue to get whitewashed. By the way, you know Youngkin, whose name Trump recently said sounds Chinese and also claimed couldn't win without him. That Youngkin. The Youngkin whose first executive order when he got in office was to sign a ban on teaching critical race theory in K-12 public schools. Well, according to Ethan Lynn, Governor Youngkin introduced a new proposed K-5 history curriculum, completely removing all mention of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Lynn amplified Wesley Hedgepeth, a social studies educator who said the proposed standards by Governor Youngkin removes MLK Jr. from the elementary curriculum. This selective erasure of one of the most prominent people of color in American history calls into question this entire revision of the proposed standards, which is weird coming from this Youngkin. If you're wondering what the state of Virginia is going to allegedly teach elementary school age kids instead, their education standards, quote, also refers to Native Americans as America's first immigrants, where allegedly Youngkin's team took out any mention of LGBTQ plus history, Juneteenth, European imperialism, racial conflict, and Cesar Chavez, just to name a few. This selective erasure, as Hedgepeth put it, makes mention of these people, including Christopher Columbus, but not MLK Jr. More on this later. Now, it would appear that in the midst of these tweets flying around about this topic and the Virginia NAACP opposing the Youngkin administration's history curriculum revisions and the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus releasing a statement about it, that a, quote, silent change was made today. This is the original proposal released on Friday, November 11th. Again, it's worth noting that these are at the very least allegations and that the likes of Lynn and Hedgepeth could be only showing selective screenshots that did not include how under kindergarten, intro to history, under civics, K7, it already said MLK Jr. But we'd have to believe in curriculum and education under Governor Youngkin, who silently shut down his critical race theory tip line that people use to report other stuff, but not CRT, because it's not being taught at the K-12 level. That Youngkin. The VA Board of Education meeting has passed as of this recording, but you can still let your voice be heard. With that said, in the new version of their education standards, Ronald Reagan is described as one of several innovators and heroes alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You know, The Ronald Reagan who begrudgingly made MLK Jr.'s birthday a federal holiday and was the first of many GOP politicians to say this.
We're committed to a society in which all men and women have equal opportunities to succeed. And so we oppose the use of quotas. We want a colorblind society, a society that, in the words of Dr. King, judges people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
That quote from that stanza from that speech